Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Arsenal Reloaded by Jeffery H. Haskell, narrated by Emily Beresford. 1. On the list of things I hate, hospitals, courtrooms, and funerals are at the top. Maybe hospitals are on the list twice. Oh, I really hate them. This week I'm dealing with all three. I had to spend the night in the hospital because of my injuries sustained while fighting Nemesis. Tomorrow I have a funeral for my friend Tia, who died saving Tessa from a body snatcher. And right now, I'm wheeling into a courtroom to watch my attorneys face off with an assistant U.S. attorney about Tessa. Needless to say, my mood is craptastic. If I were in a suit, I'd seriously consider leveling this place to the ground and just snatching Tessa. I have enough money for her to live comfortably on the lam for the rest of her life. But it wouldn't be right. No, she needs to win on the merits of the case, which is why I'm paying ridiculous sums of money to the law firm I hired. I'm here to support my friend. It's why we're all here. The whole team, in our Sunday best. Everyone except Carlos. The protector is off protecting, and no one knows he is Carlos anyway. The rest of us have long since given up any secret identity. This is the last place I want to be, the row behind where Tessa will sit when they finally bring her in. Not that I don't want to be here for my friend. I don't want to be anywhere. I lost Luke. I caused the dimensional shift that allowed people like Erickson to exist. I lost Tia. I wipe my eyes, trying to hide the silent tears cascading down. Just a week since I got back. One lousy week. When is life going to stop kicking me while I'm down?
All rise for the Honorable Judge Bean.
All right. Never. The federal courthouse is filled with news media and onlookers, even though this is just a preliminary hearing where the government shows it has enough evidence to justify a trial. Which is stupid. Of course, she didn't murder anyone. She stopped a dangerous assassin from using his powers to escape mere moments after Tia gave her life to free her of him. Now the government is saying that because Massacre couldn't use his powers back-to-back, Tessa murdered a powerless man when she could have restrained him. Even though she had no idea how his powers worked, or if he could have jumped into any one of the protectors and started all over. Regardless, calling her a murderer was hyperbolic on the government's part. Massacre killed a half-dozen agents in the building and countless more people in his life. Tessa did what she had to do to stop him and keep more lives from being lost. I was lost in thought and missed the reading of the charges after the judge came in and sat down. I'm not a lawyer. I have no idea how these things work. Tessa had already pleaded not guilty the day before. I'd missed that hearing, but my lawyers hadn't. Judge Bean is an older man with salt and pepper hair and a trim goatee. The robes leave him looking like he's a head floating on top of a black cape. The prosecutor steps up and starts reading the evidence list, going over each piece as if it were a fact.
And it is the government's conclusion that Miss Harper is responsible for the death of the supervillain Massacre?
The judge asks, interrupting the prosecutor's reading of the charges. The three lawyers representing the government shoot each other looks of confusion. Kate places a hand on my shoulder, leans in and whispers, "They don't normally refer to them as supervillains in court. It creates a bias," she says. I nod. "But he was," I say with more than a little confusion. "It's the same reason papers are always using the word alleged. They want to avoid bias." I thought about teasing her for saying papers, as if anyone still read them, but I let it pass. I noticed the judge looking at me, and I give him my best little girl smile.
Alleged supervillain? Your Honor, he was a citizen of Mexico and wasn't wanted for any crimes in the U.S. We can't attest to anything he may or may not have done in the past, just what transpired here.
As the prosecutor speaks, he gains confidence, adjusting his tie and moving around to the front of his desk to present his full countenance. Judge Bean nods as he opens a manila envelope on his desk.
Bailiff Rodrigo, go ahead and bring in the accused. Yes, Your Honor.
The officer in the brown and beige uniform turns and walks to the side and knocks on the door one time. The door opens and a female corrections officer enters, leading Tessa by the elbow. I stiffen when I see my friend. She has a large purple bruise on the side of her cheek. One of those stupid pain collars adorns her neck, and she has that hard look she had when I first interviewed her in the Ultramax. "Amelia, don't say or do anything," Kate warns me. "It won't help her situation." As if on cue, Tessa sees me and smiles, waving me off with a cuffed hand and giving me the "it's okay" signal. It wasn't okay. I am not okay. Not even a little. Right now, though, I'm just another concerned citizen. One with buckets of money and an IQ like the Empire State Building, but still just a normal person. No armor, no superpowers, nothing. I can't even walk without my armor, so less dangerous than a normal person, I guess. Whatever the hell normal is anyway. I look to the team, and they are all visibly upset about our teammates' physical appearance. Judge Bean puts his hand to his chin and watches Tessa enter, a scowl forming on his face. At first, I think it's because he doesn't like her, which worries me. But the longer he sits silently looking at her, to the point that even Tessa, my usually nonplussed friend, is forced to look away, the more I think it's because he's mad about her injury.
"Why wasn't she put into protective custody?"
Judge Bean asks, shifting his gaze from Tessa to the prosecutor. The prosecutor fumbles for a second, as if he isn't prepared for that.
"I'm not privy to the Department of Corrections' decision-making process, Your Honor. You would have to ask them,"
he says after a moment. The two assistants behind him fervently tap on their phones, probably looking for answers.
"I see,"
the judge says, in a way that makes it clear he isn't happy. I'm really starting to like this guy. "Amelia, I did a quick dive into the DOG system," Epic informs me. "They put her in general population, and the collar she is wearing shocks her if she uses her powers. There was an altercation yesterday that resulted in several prisoner injuries, including Tessa." The anger I already felt swells to new heights. General population? I'm not savvy with prisons, but even I know you don't put law enforcement in with the regular prisoners, let alone a former convict who went straight. After a few moments, the judge puts his paperwork down and looks at the prosecutor.
"Mr. Flynn, is this all you have for evidence?"
When he hears the name, Epic throws a bunch of info on my screen about AUSA Flynn. He golfs on Saturdays and stays at fancy hotels when he goes on vacation. No connections to Brown, the deceased FBI agent who had it in for me, thank goodness.
"Excuse me, I'm not sure what you mean,"
Flynn says.
"The question was pretty straightforward. Is the evidence in this packet all you have, or do you have facts you have yet to present to justify your charges of second-degree murder, manslaughter, and other various crimes you've decided to press here?"
Flynn looks back to his assistants for answers. They have none. I don't either. My anger over Tessa's treatment gives way to bewilderment. Tessa's lawyers haven't even given their arguments yet. I tap one of them on the shoulder, the leader of the two, and give him a questioning look. He is just as confused as the rest of us, and shrugs.
"The AUSA's office has found more than enough compelling evidence. The man she is accused of killing was defenseless when she did so. Mostly on the word of FBI agent Marshall, we've been very generous in accepting who this man even was, and that he did have powers that allowed him to control others. But there is no doubt that Tessa Harper decapitated a defenseless man. On video. I'm not sure what other evidence you need to give us the go-ahead."
His tone shifts toward a little angry, or maybe he's just stunned at the pushback the judge is giving him.
"Listen, son. I'm not sure what kind of courts you're used to dealing with, but here in the great state of Arizona, we follow the rule of law, not the whims of overreaching prosecutors. You will answer my questions with a simple yes or no, or I will find you in contempt. Is that clear? Your Honor, this is, if the next words out of your mouth aren't yes or no, then you will seriously regret your life choices, son."
The prosecutor clamps his mouth shut. I can almost hear him grinding his teeth from 15 feet away.
"Yes, Your Honor. Clear. Thank you. Now, if this is all the evidence you have—"
"No, Your Honor. We have multiple witnesses, past history, prior crimes." The judge holds up his hand for the prosecutor to stop, which he does.
"Son, are you aware of who Tessa Harper is?" Mr. Flynn looks at Tessa, then me, then the judge. She's the woman on trial. I told you yes or no answers. That will cost you $500. He picks up and slams his gavel down in one smooth motion. Mr. Flynn opens his mouth to speak, but wisely clamps it shut. Finally, after a long, silent struggle, he grinds out an answer between clenched jaws. Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. But I feel like you don't. Tessa Harper is a member of the Protectors. You may recall the time they saved the entire planet from an alien invasion? Or how about the time they saved all those people up in Washington State when Mount Rainier exploded? Mr. Flynn looks like he would rather be anywhere else. Yes, Your Honor. Fantastic. Now we are getting somewhere. Is Miss Lockhart in the room? He looks around like he doesn't know I'm here. I'm too stunned to respond until Kate elbows me in the side. I manage to raise my hand, not sure what I should do since I can't stand. I'm here, sir. Your Honor? I finally manage to say. Thank you, ma'am, for the great service you have done for this city, state, and country, let alone the world. He stands up, holding his gavel in one hand. All rise, the bailiff spits out as the judge stands. Everyone in the courtroom is forced to stand with the judge. Everyone but me. I find the prosecution has insufficient evidence to bring this to trial. Case dismissed with prejudice. He slams his gavel down, and the courtroom erupts in cheers. He holds my eyes for a moment, nods, then turns and walks toward the exit. Mr. Flynn is left slack-jawed and stunned in disbelief. Then he collects himself and runs after the judge. Tessa turns around, leans over the benches, and throws her arms around me. "Thank you," she whispers. "I told you, you are never going back to prison. I'm just glad I didn't have to bust you out." She pulls back and looks at me for a moment. "You would have, wouldn't you? In a heartbeat." "Ma'am, if you'll follow me, we'll get you released," the bailiff says to Tessa. She gives me one more hug before allowing herself to be led out. The rest of the team is practically jumping up and down in excitement. "I think this calls for drinks," Kate says with a smile. I smile back, but it's a hollow one. I'm happy for Tessa, stunned but happy. She doesn't deserve to be in jail. With everything else that has happened, though, celebrating feels wrong. I know one thing for sure. Luke would have loved this. 2. While I'm not Arsenal anymore, I'm still me. I've learned a couple of lessons over the last few years. 1, trust no one but myself, my friends, and my team. 2, I can't always control everything that happens when I'm not around. The Spire is a fantastic base of operations for a public superhero team. Not for me. I won't be going back there as a hero. That one, Epic. What do you think? I ask my faithful AI as we circle the Arizona desert at 2,000 feet. I'm still fully funding the Protectors, and in the interim, Kate is in charge of the team. Maybe forever. I can't be Arsenal without armor, and I'm not sure I want to go back to having another suit that can be taken away. What I really want, what I need, is something akin to my Mark IV Animetal suit. In order to get that, I need a place to work, which is why we're in an M-jet flying over the northern Arizona desert near the border with Utah. Perfect. Tall and wide enough that we can burrow into it without causing any structural damage. Other than a 5-foot circular hole in the top to allow Carlos to visit, no one will ever know we are there, which is good since this is public land and illegal to build on. If the government would stop stealing my stuff every time I take an extended leave of absence, I would be more concerned about the legality of this. But a secret mountain base sounds perfect. It also sounds like something a supervillain would do. Maybe I just need to start a new trend. Superheroes with secret places to retreat to when they need solitude. Not that I have such a place yet. How long do you think it will take? A week to hollow everything out. Once we have the internal dimensions, we can start casting the support beams and the rest of the internal structure. Are we going with the underground launch facility? Yes, I think a tube that exits a half a mile away or so will do. Just large enough for an M-jet. We can build that first, have the supplies brought there, then the workers can transit through the tunnel, constructing as they go.
Permits? I ask as a joke. We will have none for the mountain itself, but I will make sure everything is built to exacting specifications. The same contractors who built the spire will also work on this project. I shake my head. He didn't get it. Excellent. Make sure they are all well compensated for their time. A week to get started. Then what? A month until you can move in. A whole month. Well, there are worse things to do than live in a 5-star hotel in the meantime. A whole month? Ugh, it's not like I have armor to use. My flight suit is trashed. All my tools and spare armor are stuck on the other side of a quantum gate I can no longer access. Sure, a month is fine. Do I detect sarcasm? I glare at the nearest camera, then give him a sweet smile. I turn away from the mesa, bringing the plane's external cameras over to the south to view our legitimate purchase. Last Chance Gas and Go was abandoned before I was born, but things in the desert tend to hang around until someone tears them down. This old place is no different. Nothing more than a wooden frame and an old sign. It's just over half a mile distance between the old gas station to the mountain we're going to hollow out. If I make it into a travel plaza with a car wash and a large parking lot, no one will notice the extra construction materials. I could even make it a conference center. Financially, it will be a complete loss, but it's only money. Stealthy, cheap, or awesome? Pick two, I say out loud as we fly over. Exactly. Stealthy and awesome it is. All right, Epic, make it so. I will have Milton start making the... No, this is just you and me, buddy, for now. Amelia, I created Milton. He is essentially my son. I am sure he will do as good a job as... I said no! I almost shout. I certainly raise my voice more than I intended. I clamp my mouth shut for a moment and regain some control over my emotions. I'm not a fan of ordering you to do anything, Epic, and I never will. But Milton betrayed me. Us. I hold up my hand to forestall any further argument. I know he felt he didn't have a choice. I might even agree with him. However, my science is out in the world, and it's because he didn't blow the lab up like he should have. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. I'm playing this one close to the vest. No more leaks. It hurts to speak to Epic this way. He's my best friend. I love him more than anything else in the world, but his creation cost me dearly. I can't let that happen again. I cannot say I fully understand, Amelia. However, you are my friend, and I respect your wishes. I will leave Milton out of this for now. Thank you, Epic. I hope I haven't hurt your feelings. I know you made him, and I know that you have always had my best interest at heart. I just can't say the same for anyone else. The M-Jet turns south and heads for Phoenix as I relinquish the controls to Epic. It's getting late, and tomorrow is a big day. Another one. Tia will be laid to rest, and it's my last chance to say goodbye. Oh, when did this life get so freaking hard? 3. After I returned to my apartment in the city, Kate picked me up to go shopping for a black dress. When I moved out of the Spire, the only stuff I really had to take with me were books, computers, and a handful of outfits, which were mostly pajamas. And all of Luke's clothing he left in the room, including the black cowboy hat he wore off-duty. I couldn't bring myself to leave any of that behind. I kept the hat and a few of my favorite shirts. The rest I sent to his remaining family. Not that they even knew who I was. We never did get to meet. I take a deep breath and push those thoughts away. I don't have time for them right now. I also don't have time to go shopping. But since when does Kate ever listen to me? I've never enjoyed shopping. Kate loves it, but for me, trying clothes on is a workout. Not that I don't like to wear nice things, but getting them on is physically exhausting. Which is why I'm sitting in a posh, by-appointment-only boutique, watching Kate try on a dozen different outfits while the owner caters to her every whim. Wouldn't you rather have Carlos here than me? I ask as I lean back in my chair and she shuffles into the dressing room to try on another outfit. Amelia, you've only been back a week and I've hardly seen you. Other than your bombshell announcement that you've up and quit the business, we've barely spoken. I know this is all stressful to you, and I'm not going to let you disappear into a project. You need your friends. Kate says as she tries on a wide-brimmed hat. I hate funerals, I mutter. Me too. But I loved Tia, she says through the curtain that encloses the little booth she's changing in. We owe it to her. Hell, if it wasn't for her, the Protectors would be dead, and ISO 1 would have won the day. I nod. She can feel that I understand. I just want to go home and curl up in a ball for a few months. What the heck is with them, anyway? Why did they decide we were target number 1? Kate swishes the curtain aside and steps out in a magnificent mid-thigh black dress with knee-high black boots. The bottom fans out around her and looks perfectly natural. It's formal enough to work for a funeral, especially if she were to add in a black hat. We're still working on that. My contacts in the agency. She lowers her voice as she shoots a look to the owner, who is busy picking out other outfits for her to try on. Tell me that they have exploded as a criminal agency in the last few years. They may have eyed the Arizona border as a prime trafficking site and wanted to either keep us distracted or take us out of play. Still, they had to have spent a mint on bribery to get the FBI to come after us like that. Doesn't seem like that would be a good return on investment to simply remove us from play. We don't even patrol the border. Kate nods. True, but what else could it be? I shrug. I have no idea. When Agent Brown interrogated us, it felt personal, you know? She smiles, running a finger along my face and lifting my chin to look in my eyes. Amelia, not everything is a conspiracy against you. I laugh. No, just everything we've encountered so far. She frowns, sticks her tongue out at me, then twirls around to push me toward the dressing room. I've got my outfit. Your turn. We only have 4 hours before we have to be at the funeral home. 4 hours? You're kidding, right? I'm just going to say yes to the first outfit he hands me, whatever it is. Then you'll be attending Tia's ceremony in your underwear. 3 hours later, we are in the back of one of the black SUVs the Protector's security and staff use. O'Brien happens to be our driver. He has worked as the head of security for the Protectors since the first time I met him outside the Spire, when Pedrick Madahall tried to incite that crowd to violence. He's a good man with an impeccable work ethic, and he's paid handsomely to drive us around. He's dressed sharp, in a black suit with a deep red tie. He's also wearing the modified glasses, so he's in contact with Epic or Milton. Kate, I say, leaning toward her in the back, what's going on? She raises her eyes from her phone and feigns ignorance. She's a fantastic liar, and I mean that as a compliment, but I know her all too well. I throw a chin nod toward O'Brien. Oh, with everything that has happened in the last year, the staff wanted to make sure you were safe, that's all. I lean forward and squeeze his shoulder. Thank you, I say. O'Brien doesn't say anything, but he looks in the mirror and nods. He's the strong, silent type, for sure. It takes a lot of the edge off of me, knowing the staff of the Spire think about me like this. And it's unexpectedly emotional. I take a minute and look out the window as we drive, trying not to cry. It's going to be that kind of week. There aren't a lot of cars when we arrive. Tia wasn't well known here, and she wasn't an official member of the Protectors. I call this a funeral, but it's more of a memorial service. Her actual funeral will take place in Buenos Aires, where she'll be buried. I know her mom lives there, but I've never met the woman. It only takes Kate a second to pull my chair out of the car. I let her lift me into it. She's so flipping strong compared to a normal human that it isn't even a challenge for her to pick me up. I see O'Brien raise an eyebrow at how effortlessly she lifts me. Of course, he's seen her use her powers before, but Kate just doesn't look like the typical strong person. It's not like Kate can lift a car or anything. She's just as strong as a person her size could possibly be, which is pretty strong. It's hot out here, and the outfit she picked out for me, while stylish, will be better once we're inside. I'm sweating by the time we make it into the air-conditioned building. Like a lot of people in South and Central America, like my mom, Tia was Catholic. I made sure to respect those wishes with arrangements. Once we're in the chapel, we make our way to the team area. The first row is empty, reserved for family, who aren't here. The second and third rows are for close friends, us. The funeral director seats us 3 rows back. The whole team is there, even Carlos. However, he isn't sitting with the team. It's important to him that his family doesn't find out he's the protector. I can respect that. He has every right to be here as my friend and Kate's boyfriend. Kate parks me on the outside of the third row, locks my wheels in, then sits down next to me. A few seconds later, Carlos scoots by to sit down on the other side of her. He slides his hand into hers as they sit. She squeezes his shoulder and rests her head against his for a moment. Whatever happened while I was gone seems to have escalated their relationship. I look away, though, as it is a painful reminder of what I've lost. The casket is closed, and a large picture of Tia, from when we were on the boat down in Costa Rica, is placed on a stand with a large wreath. The actual burial will take place in Buenos Aires, not here. It's just not practical to fly the whole team down there, not to mention that Argentina and I aren't exactly simpatico at the moment. A local priest comes out and explains the nature of Catholic beliefs and their thoughts on death. Then he says a prayer over the picture and invites everyone to say a prayer themselves. Then it's over, and she's still gone. And there isn't anything I can do about it.
"How's Frank doing?"
Carlos asks me once we are in the other room. It's a small area with refreshments. It's more relaxed, and they encourage the attendees to share good memories of the deceased. Parker? Fine, I guess. He's with his family. Still recovering from his injuries, though, I say.
"Have you thought about, asking him to fix this?"
He asks with a nod toward the room we just left. I shake my head. I hurt him badly when we came forward. According to him, he can't access his abilities. It might be physical, or it could be some kind of mental block, or a side effect of us going back before there were powers. I don't know, and he's not interested in finding out. He just wants to spend time with his family. I can't really blame him for that. The last part comes out in a whisper.
"It's not your fault, Nina. You did what you had to do. Pythia told me."
I shoot him a glare I don't think I've ever used on him before. I hate that woman. She's done nothing but manipulate me from the moment we met. He hesitates.
She told me that it had to happen that way and couldn't have happened any other way."
That's easy for her to say, since she knew what was going to happen before it did. She knew, Carlos. She knew the moment I first met her, and she said nothing. She knew Sydney would die. She knew you would become the protector. She knew Luke. I stop as my throat closes up.
"It's not your fault,"
he repeats in a whisper. I shake my head. Yes, it is. All of it. Everyone who died is still dead, and there isn't anything I can do about it. Tia is gone, Luke is gone, and I'll never get them back. My heart pounds in my chest, and I want to scream. I claw at the armrests of my chair. I know I should stop talking, but I can't seem to. My armor is gone. My technology is responsible for the deaths of countless people, and I lower my voice to a whisper. I caused everything Erickson did. I'm the reason people have superpowers. If not for me, we would be...
"All dead,"
he interrupts me. Carlos takes a knee to look me in the eye.
"If not for you, both Earth and Luxilla would be gone. Barren rocks, strip-mined by the Thune. I don't think you should lose sight of the good you've done, too."
I shake my head. It isn't a scale, Carlos. The good here, the bad there. It's just me, and only me. And I don't know how I can live with what I've done. A flash of worry crosses his face.
"Amelia, you'll get through this. You have us. We're here for you."
Thank you. That means a lot. But this is something no one can help me with. Not even my best friends. I turn away from him and wheel myself to the exit. I'm so wrapped up in my own thoughts and misery that I miss what Tessa says. I'm halfway out the door when her words catch up to me. I jerk the wheels around and roll back to her. Tessa, what did you just say? She has a somber look on her face, and I know this is as hard for her as the rest of us. She looks around at the other protectors for a second, like she doesn't know what I'm asking. Which part? She asks quietly. I think for a second, trying to recall exactly what I thought I heard her say. You said something about using your powers? She nods. Right, as Tia... As she faded away, I tried to use my powers to...
I slashed.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?